You got it. Phenomenal. Yay. Best part about recording is you just edit the
Yep.
parts you don't.
Okay. All right, let's begin. Hi
Yay.
everyone. Welcome to the Internexxus podcast. This is our first episode where we will dive into the world of internships and career building with some of our experts. I'm Ishita Ahuja, your host for today. I serve as the product marketing intern here at Internexxus and also a proud Longhorn at the University of Texas at Austin. Today, we're thrilled to have Ava Burdette with us, a career specialist and internship guru from Biola University. Ava, it's fantastic to have you here. How about we kick things off with a bit of your story and the journey that brought you to where you are today?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to join. So I have kind of fallen in love with working with students in the area of career. I think it's a huge aspect of just being a student is the unknown of what happens after you graduate and even what you do as a student to prepare for what you do after graduation. And so a little bit about me. I am a internship coordinator at Biola University. So I teach a few classes, a few internship courses for our journalism, marketing, communication, PR students. And then I also am a career specialist. And so what that means is I just provide career services to specific student majors or populations. And I kind of walk them through from the minute they step on campus as a freshman to even after they graduate, what career readiness is, preparing them for what's after, anything from resumes to looking for internships to preparing for their big job interview, things like that. So I get to work with students in very unique ways as far as career prep, but I love all aspects of it. And so that's just a little bit about me and what I do. But my passion for students really is within the how do we prepare students for career readiness and professional development and all of those fun things.
Well, thank you so much for that. It's really obvious that you're super passionate about helping students, and I think that really goes a long way in this process for sure. Our chat today is all about demystifying the internship and job search process, and really how Internexus can be your secret weapon. So let's just dive right into it. Ava, for students at the starting line of their internship hunt, what do you think is the golden advice you give them when they're navigating this process, especially when it comes to balancing their academics?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Um, I would say number one thing you want to do if you start stressing about internships or you know that you need to start doing them, maybe you're looking at your academic plan and you're like, oh gosh, that is next semester. What do I do? Um, definitely connect with the resources that already exist on your campus. And that could just be finding who teaches that internship class and asking them what are requirements, what are expectations, what are timelines, what's approved as an internship, what's not approved as an internship, because I can't tell you how many times I have students come to me 4 weeks into, their internship class or whatever it is, and their internship didn't work out, and now they're floundering and they don't know what to do. And so connect with whoever you need to connect with on campus, whether that is the faculty who's teaching your class. It could be just another faculty staff member that you trust and have talked with a lot about your career and hopes for the future. And hopefully you're connecting with your career center. So because I work in our career center, I just got to promote if you have, and you probably do have career services on campus, those are already free services that you are paying for through your tuition. So go and meet with your career counselor. They're there to walk you through that whole process. Another piece of advice that I always give students is you have to schedule it in. Looking for internships and looking for jobs feels almost like doom scrolling at the end of the day on your phone through social media. It can suck the life right out of you. And so if you are going to kind of hustle it and try and find yourself an internship, find a schedule that works best for you. So that could be every Friday for 30 minutes, you're looking for an internship. Or maybe you really got to push it. You are putting in 2 to 3 hours of searching for internships a week. Okay, find times in your schedule when you're doing that. And then when you are doing that, set aside a goal. Is today just pure, like not purifying, but um getting a better search algorithm for yourself, finding out what words to specifically type in to find the opportunities you're looking for? Or is today just a bookmark everything that you think is interesting? Or is today go through your bookmarks and see what would you actually spend 2 to 3 hours applying for? And so find yourself a schedule it in. It's just like any other kind of assignment or project you have to do. find time to do it well. And then I would say last thing is just let your network know that you're looking for an internship. You never know who in your network is hiring or looking for something. They don't even have an opportunity out. That's what we call the hidden job market. There's jobs that aren't even posted because some people haven't even thought about looking yet to hire somebody for a certain job, or the job's just not posted yet. So let your network know through LinkedIn or Handshake or whatever you're using, Instagram. Let your people know that you're looking for an internship, and that can really, really help. So those would be my golden rules or advice for students that are kind of just now starting looking for their internship.
No, I think that's perfect and really insightful. I think as a student myself, I've really realized the power of leveraging your network. Personal connections, I feel like go a long way when you're doing your internship hunt, just because it's a way that you can let people know what your skill sets are and also let them know like the kind of person you would be in the workplace when it's not just through a job board online. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it aligns with what you're saying. But really based on that, like when it comes to the application process in this day and age of AI, how do you see that being involved in recruitment, and what are your thoughts on how students can leverage the AI tools that we have right now to enhance whether it's their resume, their cover letters, or just their personal brand in general?
Absolutely. I love this question. And this is something that my team and I are recently talking about. I'm seeing career centers and like professional organizations talking about this so much more through forums and workshops. And so I love this topic. I think this is great. Something that I always want to mention to students whenever they bring up AI to help them with their resume or their cover letter or whatever that be, is bringing up the fact that AI has existed in recruiting for since I've been doing this. It's been plus 5 years that AI has been a part of the recruiting process already. So we're just seeing AI affecting different aspects. So AI can help students, absolutely, but just know that AI is already being used and has been used by recruiters for a while now. And so what that looks like is, and what we call that is what the applicant tracking system. So that is AI tool softwares that most recruiters, employers, HR, hiring managers will use to scan through hundreds of applications that they might get when they post an internship. And that just helps them filter through a bunch of applications, find the right candidate, and just kind of move along in the hiring process a little bit quicker. So, what that means for students is that they might be submitting their application and getting an email 5 minutes later saying, "Thank you so much for your application. We've decided to move on. We'll hold on to your application documents in case something else comes up." And so, in layman's term, that just means, hey, you didn't pass the AI scanning process. You were not a close enough match to the job description, and so we're going to move on. And so it's a little bit scary because an employer could decide, hey, I don't want to see any candidates that are not at least an 83% match for this job. If you're an 82% match for the job, you're not going to get seen by a human, which is very unfortunate. And so that's a little scary. And I like to mention that because it is scary, and I want students to know that this is what's happening. And so, how students can use AI to kind of combat what's happening, again, and has been happening for quite some time, is using AI to boost resume, boost their cover letter, help them build a foundation of their resume. Now, I will say, and this is for any kind of automatic help process software, whatever you use to kind of get your resume going or your cover letter going, is that when you do use AI to build your bullet points, to build your resume, to write out your cover letter, it is very obvious when you are doing it. So I like to kind of advise students to use AI as a foundation to get started. I know when it comes to me and I have to write an essay, the hardest part is just getting started and writing that intro paragraph. And so the same thing for a cover letter, same thing for a resume. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. So if you need to use an AI tool to get started, absolutely do that. But I guarantee you, the minute somebody looks at your resume, if you're just going to submit it right after having AI build you a resume, it is very obvious that it's not your own work. So use it as a helpful tool to get started, but meet with somebody, have somebody look at your resume because we want it to feel more like you. We want it to feel more human. We want it to highlight you, and AI cannot do that. So that's kind of where we're at right now, where AI is being used against students, really for the benefit of the employer, and students are trying to combat it with AI as well, but they're not doing it perfectly well. And so once we kind of understand what's going on, I think you can use your own discernment skills to use those resources better for yourself.
I think that's great advice. I think usually when we're told to leverage AI to do better in whatever it is we're doing, we're never told the specifics. So I really appreciated how you brought up the point of using AI to just get started, because you're right. That's honestly sometimes just the hardest part, is knowing where to start writing, what to start thinking about. And using AI to do that is a great idea. It's just not something that you can take too far. And so that's really great advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think just like moving on from that, like once you're past the AI screening, once you're past the point of um, like technology being involved as much, and you're with an employer, or your resume gets to the employer. Um, so our mission here at Internexus is really to revolutionize that connection that students and employers have, whether it's before the recruiting process or like in between, once you've passed the resume screening. Based on what you've seen of Internexus and the platform, how do you think we can help your students specifically during their internship hunt?
That is a great question. Um, in the time that I've spent using Internexus, I think one of the best features about this kind of job searching platform is how feedback is embedded into this. And so I know a lot of students have had this experience where they apply for a job and they either don't hear back or they do hear back and they might reach and it didn't, it fell through, that it didn't work out. And so the student reaches back out and say, hey, like, can you tell me why, or like what happened, or what did you not like? I think the fact that Internexus kind of has this built-in feedback aspect to how students are applying for internships is a really cool feature. I do also think that it encourages employers to connect with students a little bit more. I think when an employer is looking at hundreds and hundreds of applications, they kind of disconnect from like there is a person behind the resume. And so I think Internex is kind of taking it a little bit slower and kind of forcing employers to really look at each candidate individually can also be a great way as just students being able to connect with employers a little bit better. So that was just one feature that I think really stands out with Internexus comparatively to other job search platforms.
Well, I agree. I think that's great. I think in the past, without Internexus, the way we've done it is just receiving a bunch of rejections at once on email.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you reach back out, you don't get the feedback you need to do a little bit better the next time, or just
Mm-hmm.
to see where you could improve. And I think that leads to causing a lot of imposter syndrome within
Yeah.
students. As if we didn't already have it. I think that just like a little bit more. But yeah, I think just leading from that, I wanted to wrap up by asking this one question I love to ask all our guests. What do you think your biggest piece of advice is for battling that imposter syndrome that comes during the early career journey?
I love that question. This is a topic that I think is one of the very first topics that I have students who are in my internship courses discuss with each other, and address and kind of come up with their own solutions. I love to hear how other students feel like they combat imposter syndrome, but I also think it's so helpful when students realize, oh my gosh, I'm not the only person who's struggling with this. All of my classmates are also dealing with this. Um, I think advice that I usually give students is focusing, spending time to focus on the fact that you already have the skills, maybe not to do the job perfectly, but you have the skills to learn. And having the skill to learn is vital as an early, as an early graduate or an early career. But I think it's also something that isn't a skill that employers can teach or train you, right? If a student comes into an internship kind of gung ho, I've got this, I can do all of it, and they're not asking questions, they're not asking how they can improve, they're not taking time to kind of observe what's going on before jumping in or saying yes to things, I think can really kind of lead to their own destruction and feeling like, oh my gosh, I've bit off way more than I can chew. I don't have the skills for this. I don't feel ready. So I think there's that aspect of are you going into an internship or an early opportunity to learn how to do that job better? Or are you going into it thinking, yes, I need to like master this day one? Because that's not going to happen. I think another aspect to it is, or I guess like taking that just a little bit step further, is even when students are searching for internships, a lot of the times imposter syndrome hits even in the search process. So not even when they first walk into the job, and they're having their first day and they start feeling all of this, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But imposter syndrome shows its ugly face the minute you start looking for internships, and it's that feeling of, oh, I don't qualify for that one, I don't qualify for this one, I can't do that job, I can't do this job. And something that I have heard other people say, and something that I tell students, is that there are other students who have less experience than you do who are applying and getting these jobs. Also, don't let you be the one to tell you no. Let the employer tell you no. If you cut yourself off before you even get to the race, you're never going to get to a finish line. You're never going to find that internship opportunity. And so don't let imposter syndrome hit you before you've even started running. Because you have no idea how far it'll go. So that's kind of my advice: is you have the skills to learn and hone in on those. And don't let yourself be the one telling you no. Be the one telling you, yes, you can do this. So that would be my advice.
No, I love that so much. It's really just telling us to shoot our shot wherever we can. And
Mm.
that's great advice. That's really inspiring. So thank you so much for all of your insights today. To our listeners, we hope this episode not only enlightens, but empowers you as you navigate the world of internship searches. Don't forget to explore Internexxus for that perfect match that could kickstart your career. Check us out at www.internexxus.com to find your perfect internship match. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.